Tonight, and in the first of a series of debate, the residents of Nairobi have listened to gubernatorial candidates who want to lead the county capital of Nairobi. In a televised debate aired on all televisions, radios, and also on online, the candidates presented their best case as to why they should be voted for on the 9th of August. These debates have been successfully introduced into the country in 2013 and borrowed from best global practice, play a role in Kenya's democracy. They bring forth the dying art of disagreement with decorum. The first interviews are over. The next debates are of the deputy presidential and presidential debates to be held on the 19th and 26th of this month. It's you, the viewer, who will decide then who next to vote for on the 9th of August. Good evening, I'm Abubakar Abdullahi. Welcome to the broadcast. Just a quick recap of the Nairobi gubernatorial debate where Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja and Jubilee candidate Polycarp Igathe squared in for 90 minutes, stipulating what they will do for Nairobi as a county should Nairobians elect them on the 9th of August. In what started first as a solo debate in which Polycarp Igathe took a lead 25 minutes for Johnson Sakaja's absence, what later on shaped as a rebuttal after rebuttal between the two candidates. Among the key areas that they tackled was the question of how they will deal with cartels and how they intend to bring corruption at least low or zero if elected. The education qualifications of Sakaja taking equally a turn on this debate when he was questioned of whether his degree from Team University in Uganda is a genuine one. The NMS, the Nairobi Metropolitan Services, which plays key roles of the devolved Nairobi County, equally was discussed. The two arguing that they will not need an NMS should they be elected on the 9th of August. We are covering the debate and the post-analysis of it. Equally, we are covering the day's main stories here on Kenya's fastest growing television, TV47. These are the highlights for tonight. Tonight, Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja pours cold water on claims that he does not hold a valid university degree. This as he comes face to face with his fierce political rival, Polycarp Igathe.
Do you have a degree?
That's the reason I'm here. That's the reason I've been gazetted. I do have all the qualifications required to run for governor of Nairobi, and on top of a degree, beyond just the academic qualifications.
Also tonight, the digital or the manual way. Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga and his UDA counterpart William Ruto lock horns over the voter registrar.
It is our hope, therefore, as Azimio la Umoja, that our concerns are constantly being reviewed and addressed by the IEBC.
Plus, Kenya Kwanza Alliance woos the western region of the country as Azimio One Kenya Alliance campaigns in Narok County.
Jamaa amezoea sana kuongea juu yangu. Masio yule mtu ya kitendawili, sijui nini, mara mingi si mimi shirika yake.
Catherine Simaloi is our sign language interpreter. Good evening, I'm Abubakar Abdullahi. Welcome to the broadcast. Now, Nairobi gubernatorial aspirant and UDA party member Johnson Sakaja has this evening confirmed that he has been gazetted by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to vie for the county's top job after his university degree from Teams University was verified by authorities, the Commission for University Education. Speaking during the 2022 Nairobi gubernatorial debate, Sakaja claimed that the woos dogging his ambition to lead the county are pure malice propagated by his opponents. Let's take a look.
Do you believe that it is important for someone running for governor to have a degree?
It's not just important, it's a requirement by our constitution.
Do you have a degree?
That's the reason I'm here. That's the reason I've been gazetted. I do have all the qualifications required to run for governor of Nairobi, and on top of a degree, beyond just the academic qualifications. I have the competence, the character, I have the will and the experience to lead this county of Nairobi.
Why is it so contested?
Because as I've said, the head starts being sought include that. I think, and I feel bad for my opponent because majority, or rather the biggest part that his team has been relying on was not to have me on the ballot. I'm glad I had his aid because I've been around, I've been in this complex and listening, saying that, he wants me on the ballot. I'm glad he said that, but many of his political benefactors do not want me on the ballot because they know the effect of that. I do have a degree from Team University. I presented it on the 6th of last month to the competent authority, which is the Commission for University Education. After that, it was presented to the counterpart commission in in our neighboring country. They verified it. Many people have said that I'm trying hard to prove that I have one. Actually, it's my detractors trying hard to prove that I don't have one. Now, this issue is before the court, and the reason I sympathize is that if my opponent and his team focused on going to the people, then they would stop looking for solace in the courts. I have it. In fact, I would want to display it today to all of you to see. I don't know how you'll verify it, but the competent authorities and institutions that have to verify it have actually said it is correct.
Elsewhere tonight, Deputy President William Ruto and Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga's positions on the use of a manual or electronic voter registrar in the next month's general election deepened during the ongoing National Elections Conference meetings. Azimio's Raila Odinga, who was represented at the event by Dr. Caroline Karugu, told IEBC to put its act together and avoid letting Kenyans down. Deputy President William Ruto, through UDA's Secretary General Veronica Maina, told IEBC's Chairman Wafula Chebukati not to backpedal on the use of electronic registrar. Our senior political affairs reporter Apollo Kamau has the details.
With 29 days to go before next month's general election, UDA's presidential candidate William Ruto and Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga are locked in a stalemate on the use of a manual and electronic voters register, leaving IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati, who allayed rigging fears, in a catch-22 situation.
That the IEBC, in exercise of its mandate, registered all the Kenyans using the biometric electronic system, the BVR kits. That same method that you use for registration must be the same method that you use for identification of voters during the voting process in the upcoming general election. It is a big matter, yet it could be a small matter if we follow the protocol, if we use correct registers.
It is our hope, therefore, as Azimio la Umoja, that our concerns are constantly being reviewed and addressed by the IEBC. I appeal to IEBC not to let Kenyans down.
Kwa hivyo masuala na maneno kama yale yanaelezewa na kiongozi wa Azimio akitajataja kwamba hatakubali uchaguzi unaoongozwa na IEBC kama mambo fulani haifanyiki. Sisi tunataka kumwambia Wakenya wametoka katika nyanja hizo za kusema ukitaka usipotaka. Tumeenda nyanja za kusema kwamba kama ndugu na dada wa Kenya tunatafuta serikali ya kuangalia Wakenya na kufanya mambo yao. Kwa hivyo tutaweza kushauriana.
On the first day of the National Election Conference, where presidential candidates committed to a peaceful poll, Roots Party presidential candidate Professor George Wajakoya and Agano presidential candidate David Wahiga, IEBC received support from unlikely quarters.
We have reached out to Chebukati wherever we have to, and we have spoken to him in a silent way. We don't make noise or we don't beat drums. We work indirectly.
We have not been in this road again, so we don't even understand some of the complaints that are being thrown your way. But don't allow yourself to be sidetracked.
With pressure mounting on IEBC to conduct a seamless poll, the European Union and the United Kingdom, represented by their respective ambassadors, gave IEBC a clean bill of health on the Commission's preparedness, while stating they are not supporting any side in this election.
With 29 days to go until the 9th of August, the world is watching the example that Kenya, we know, will set. We want to see free, fair, credible and peaceful elections. We want to see a contest and debate of ideas and issues in a tone of friendship.
The court observer team has already arrived in the country. Needless to say that the EU will remain strictly neutral and will strictly respect the sovereignty of Kenya.
IEBC has appealed to the judiciary to fast-track pending cases before court, delaying the printing of ballot papers, which Chief Justice Martha Koome says will be dispensed with by Friday this week.
The judiciary will fast-track the cases, nomination disputes, please do so, for we are running behind schedule in printing of ballot papers. And actually, by this week, we should have finished all the printing.
The High Court last week, sitting in Mombasa, ordered IEBC to stop the printing of the Mombasa governor race ballot papers, pending the outcome of the Mombasa gubernatorial candidate Mike Sonko case on Friday this week. With just 29 days left to the general election, IEBC cannot afford to let its guard down from the printing of ballot papers to the transmission of election results in what will be the country's 7th general election since the onset of multi-party democracy. Apul Kamau, TV47 at the KICC in Nairobi.
Thank you, senior political affairs reporter Paulo Kamau, for that report. Elsewhere, Azimio One Kenya Alliance flag bearer Raila Odinga has dared his main rival in the August 9th presidential race, William Ruto, to focus on the race, insisting that Azimio will be in the contest. Odinga lauded IEBC for the preparations being put in place ahead of the August election. Raila and his team campaigning in Narok County noted that the ongoing preparations by the electoral body were satisfactory. Moige William tells us more.
Azimio One Kenya Alliance presidential flag bearer Raila Odinga has expressed his satisfaction with the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC's preparations in regards to meeting their demands of availing a manual voter register as a backup to the electronic one in each polling station. Odinga insists they will not boycott the fast approaching polls, as alleged earlier by his main rival Deputy President William Ruto while touring Turkana County.
Sisi kama Azimio hatujasema hata siku moja ati tutasusia uchaguzi. Sisi tulisema kwa IEBC ati tunataka wafanye mpango kambambe kuhakikisha kwamba uchaguzi utafanyika kwa njia ya haki na ukweli. Hatutaki wizi ya kura.
In a vote hunting mission in the Marland, Narok County, Raila at the same time lashed out at William Ruto over his continued scathing attack directed at President Uhuru Kenyatta and him, urging Ruto to prepare for a stiff competition in the presidential race.
Jamaa amezoea sana kuongea juu yangu. Masio yule mtu ya kitendawili, siji nini, mara mingi mimi sirika yake. Mimi sirika yake. Anaongea maneno ambayo haina maana. Ati sisi tunaogopa.
Leading a host of politicians, the Azimio team rallied residents of Narok County to support Raila's presidential bid, pledging a number of promises, among them protecting the Mau Forest.
Kama gavana wako wa Narok, kwamba wakati huu unapata kura kutoka Transmara, utapata kura kutoka Narok West, Narok North, kila mahali ya Wamasai mpaka itokee Marsabit.
Na kura za mwaka huu ni kura ya kuleta Wakenya wote pamoja. Ni kura ya kuleta watoto, wanawake, vijana, wazee, na kura ni kwa baba.
Sisi hatuogopi Kenya kwisha. Sisi tuko na watu. Tunajua Wakenya wako na sisi. Na tutashinda hiyo uchaguzi na 70% na kitu.
With 28 days to go before the general election, the Azimio One Kenya Alliance, led by Raila Odinga, has promised to intensify its campaigns across the nation in a bid to woo Kenyans to support Raila's bid to take over the reins of power from Uhuru Kenyatta. Moige William, TV47.
Now, UDA party presidential candidate William Ruto led Kenya Kwanza Alliance's vote hunt mission in Bungoma and Kakamega counties as he intensifies his state house bid 28 days to the general election. And as Mike Kagwongo now reports, Ruto, alongside Ford Kenya's Moses Wetangula and Senate Speaker Ken Lusaka, urged Bungoma residents to support their bid in a mission to secure victory.
With the August 9th general election drawing near, the two main presidential contenders have pitched tents in Western Kenya to consolidate votes in a bid to crack the 50% plus one equation after the election. In the company of area kingpins including Ford Kenya's Moses Wetangula and Ken Lusaka, Deputy President William Ruto stormed Bungoma County, where he enjoys a big following from members of parliament including Mwambu Mabonga of Bumula, Didmas Barasa of Kimilili, Majimbo Kalasinga of Kabuchai, and Dan Wanyama of Webuye West. In Kimilili constituency, the trio was treated to a stirring welcome from area residents as they strive to cement Ruto's long-time relationship with the Mulembe nation. The convoy toward Tongaren, Kimilili and Bumula constituencies, among other areas in Bungoma County.
Namwambia bwana kitendawili, safari hii wewe utakutana na mimi. Siwezi nikakuruhusu upange tena maandamano na huwezi tena kujiapisha. Hata reli huwezi kung'oa.
The cost of living being the topic of the day, the Kenya Kwanza Brigade maintains that they were still on course to liberate Kenyans once they take over power next month.
Tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8, mkipiga kura, hiyo kura ni ya kuteremsha bei ya unga. Hiyo kura ni ya kuteremsha bei ya mafuta. Hiyo kura ni ya kuleta elimu ya bure kwa watoto wetu.
Hii mtu ya kitendawili na hawa wenzake hawajawahi kulala njaa siku moja. Hawaelewi kulala njaa ni nini. Hata saa hii tunasema bei ya unga imepanda, hawaelewi.
With less than 28 days remaining to the general election, Azimio la Umoja flag bearer Raila Odinga once again found himself on the receiving end, following his demands on the poll agency chairman Wafula Chebukati.
Wachana na Wafula Chebukati. Wafula Chebukati ni chairman wa Electoral Commission ya Kenya, IEBC. He also happens to be part of this community, and we are proud of him. Na tutamtetea, sio kwa sababu anatoka hapa, ni kwa sababu anaweza kazi yake.
Amesema sijui kama hakuna manual register ati hakutakuwa na uchaguzi. Nilisikia tena juzi wamesema ati hawana imani na IEBC. Mimi nataka niwaambie Wakenya, msikuwe na wasiwasi. Nyinyi mniwachie huyu kitendawili nijadili na yeye.
In the mission to secure the Mulembe nation and paint the area yellow and green, the second in command says he will ensure that the alien sugar sector is revived within the 3 months if he wins the August 9th election.
Ile viwanda yetu Malaba Malakisi ilianguka, Tobacco ilianguka, Nzoia iko shida, Mumias ilianguka. Hii mambo yote tunaenda kuanza umpya tukiwa kwa serikali yetu.
Hivyo tutafanya kwa textile, hivyo tutafanya kwa agro processing na value addition na manufacturing. Ndio tuhakikisha kwamba tunazalisha nafasi ya ajira katika taifa letu la Kenya.
Ruto blamed President Uhuru Kenyatta and his handshake partner Raila Odinga for their hard economic times being experienced in the country, claiming that the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition has nothing to offer Kenyans. Ruto said his government will prioritize reducing the cost of fertilizers so as to enable farmers to produce enough food for the country to deal with the current food shortage facing the country. Mike Kagwongo, TV 47.
Elsewhere, the multi-billion Naivasha dry port is expected to employ over 4,000 people once fully operational. Azimio la Umoja leaders in Nakuru County have vowed to protect the park, despite Deputy President William Ruto promising to relocate services to Mombasa if elected into office. According to Nakuru Governor Lee Kinyanjui, millions of shillings and hundreds of man-hours had been invested in the dry port. Already, the 1 billion shillings water project to the park is complete, with President Uhuru Kenyatta expected to commission it later this week.
Sasa nimesikia baadhi ya viongozi wengine wakisema kwamba wakipata mamlaka ya kuingia kuwa rais wataondoa hii dry ports irudishwe mahali ingine. Watu wa Maimahio mumekubali? Mumekubali? Hatuwezi tukakubali hiyo maneno. Ati hii pesa yote imeletwa hapa, barabara imetengenezwa, tumelete container inakuja kuwa cleared hapa, ikiondolewa hiyo kazi yote itaondokea. Biashara yote ambayo imekuja hapa Maimahio itakuwa imeenda. Mimi kama gavana wenu nataka kuambia hivi, nikiwa gavana wa Nakuru hatutakubali hii.
Now, early marriages, HIV and gender-based violence have been cited as the biggest challenges facing Kenya's population. This is according to the National Council for Population and Development, which says there is need to strengthen county committees involved in gender-based violence, HIV and early marriages among teenagers if the war against the triple threat is to be won in the country. Speaking during the World Population Day celebrations, Northeastern NCPD coordinator Moses Ouma said the threats are real and need to be tackled head-on.
Box ni nyumba za wasichana. Hata ukienda along Mira Street utapata.
At least 2 years are we doing that? That's already a number.
Population control is actually very important. There is need to avoid discrimination because it is also common. So this has been a very important day.
Box ni nyumba za wasichana. Hata ukienda along Mira Street utapata.
At least 2 years are we doing that? That's already a number.
Population control is actually very important. There is need to avoid discrimination because it is also common. So this has been a very important day. It's a day to observe also human rights, to ensure that there is equity and equality, that we don't discriminate anybody, whether women, children, or even the disability, because we have cases of also disability.
Hapa Garissa tunaamini kwa a lot of cases are not reported na despite kuwa na high rate of this triple threat cases. Kwa hivyo tungesema kwa as a civil society organizations tuko na a lot of a very strong network and partnership na tunakuwa tukifanya kazi pamoja to end this triple threat.
Now, the Kenya Wildlife Services has intensified its effort in evacuating herds of elephants that had invaded villages in Ganze sub-county, Kilifi County, as leaders call on a speedy evacuation exercise. Samson Kotire, who is the Coast Regional Senior Warden, told journalists in Kilifi County that they are using helicopters to herd the elephants back to Tsavo East National Park, further calling on people to keep away from the elephants. Take a look.
Wale waweze kurudi katika sehemu zao za uhifadhi. Utakumbuka ya kwamba hizi sehemu ni sehemu za mazile zilikuwa njia za wanyama, lakini sasa ni mahali ambapo wananchi wameshaweka settlements pale, na tumeweka hata kikosi ambacho maalum katika kusukumana na wanyama ama kujaribu kusaidia wananchi kutengamana na wanyama hawa. Tumetuma kikosi hicho maalum kutoka sehemu za Tsavo iweze kuja kusaidia kwa kazi hiyo.
Kwa heshima kuu ya kaka yetu Bishop, kwa sababu alisoma kule Mwahera, Sokoke Ward, Ganze, KWS officers mko hapa. Tuna shida ya ndovu kule. Tumezungumza leo, nimewapata hapa one on one. Ofisa mkubwa uko hapa. Tumepiga makelele katika TVs kwa heshima yake, kwa sababu alisoma Mwahera na ni kule Ganze Sokoke. Muuliza MC anayeingia kanambia ndovu bado wako kule. Kwa heshima yake tuoni wale ndovu wapeleke mbuga kuu kule Tsavo.
Well, from Ganze in Kilifi County, you're watching the county's television. That brings us to the end of the news for tonight, at least for a night that has been consumed largely by the Nairobi gubernatorial debate, which pitted candidates who will be seeking elective seats, the gubernatorial seats to be specific, on the 9th of August. Thanks for watching. I'm Abubakar Abdullahi on behalf of the entire team that made this production possible and the debate itself possible. Bye for now. Enjoy the rest of our programs tonight of all nights. Good night and God bless.